Welcome to the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast, where feelings aren't felt and snowflakes melt. Buckle up, it's gonna be a bumpy ride.
These confines with a monarch's voice cry havoc! Let slip the dogs of war. To my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death. Oh, I've chosen my words carefully, Persian. Perhaps you should have done the same. This is blasphemy. This is madness. Madness. This is Sparta!
They painted over ants.
Good God, I look pasty and fat tonight. Look at that shit. You could practically
improvement.
Exactly. You could practically see my internal organs. Right. I need some sun up here, man.
Well, it means Superman doesn't need the X-ray vision.
Sun and vegetables, apparently. Hey, folks, welcome to the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast. We got a special treat for you tonight. This is the 2023 wrap up, New Year's special.
Woo-hoo!
Looking at 2024. Russ, if 2024 is as big a fucking fuck knuckle boondoggle whatever is 2023 was, then maybe SMOD is the way out of this. Maybe SMOD needs to.
It's going to be worse. Based on the way things are going, it's going to be worse, a lot worse.
Extinction level event is kind of what we're probably needing in 2024. I don't know. Anyway, I got to tell you a quick story about what happened to me last night, Russ.
Okay.
So got back early yesterday morning from being away from the ranch, literally, and had to use my restroom. So ran into the house and used the restroom after being on the road for a couple hours. And I go outside and there's no Huckleberry. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. He hasn't ran off for months and months, but I'm like, you got to be kidding me. After pampering him and he was babied all weekend and taking him for bye-byes and he had all this fun. Oh yeah, so I heard his hound bay way down the road, way across the street into these marshlands and these fields, cattle pastures that are cattle pastures that are across the field. And I'm like, fuck, well, I don't have time for this. So he'll come back. I'll leave the garage door open. He'll go into the garage. He's got a bed in the garage. Pretty much all day went by. Went out there probably about 4:00 in the afternoon. Already needed a flashlight up here in the northern provinces at 4:30 in the evening at this time of year. Yeah. And called him, didn't hear anything. And I kind of just resolved myself going, you know what? He's 13. He's in failing health. He can barely even get himself around anymore. If this is how he dies, this is how he dies. I'm not even going to go look for his fucking body. I'll just let the crows and the coyotes eat him.
Okay. That's dark.
Hey, well, Viking, he's a Viking's dog, die of Viking dog death. But I was like, if he doesn't come back, then that's how he died. He's out there chasing coons or whatever he's doing and having a good time. And so it got down to about 30 degrees last night, and I nodded off watching a movie. And my window here, the bane of my existence here in the study, the
one that always shines that wonderful reflective light onto you.
It is wonderful. It's a nice window in that I have a beautiful view. I can see miles and miles out there to the south. But I could just barely hear him. And instead of like that coonhound bang, he was doing that woo, woo, woo. That means he's stuck. He's stuck on something or stuck somewhere. I'm like, fuck. So it's like midnight. I'm wearing, basketball shorts and a hoodie. So I throw in my trusty, this was the dumbest decision I've made in a long time. I throw on my trusty Skechers slip-ins that I wear basically as slippers around here because it's so muddy and gross around here during the winter that you can't go outside with flip-flops or anything. You need actual shoes. And oh my God. So I walk down to the end of the driveway, which is, a few hundred meters down there, shining the flashlight. I have a shitty little flashlight and I couldn't find my good one anywhere. Good job, Coop. And all my headbands that I usually wear, couldn't find those anywhere, but I hear Huckleberry and I'm like, fuck, I wonder if his collar is stuck on a fence post and he's choking. So I go out there And this isn't our property. The ranch that I live on extends to the left and right, but not across the street. So I'm trespassing. So I climb up on a cattle gate, and I'm sure that would have looked great. I'm glad it was dark when I did that. And then got to the other side, and I start walking, and I'm like, fuck, I hope this old road here is still somewhat dry. I didn't get 20 feet, and I'm already up to my ankles in mud and cow shit. And I can't see. It's pitch dark, and I got this going on, and I can hear him way off in the distance. So I get about another 100 meters, and both shoes, boop, gone. Gone, stuck in the mud, both shoes, just boom, boom, to walk right out of my shoes. So it's 30 degrees. I'm about a half mile from the house, barefoot, with a fucking flashlight, carrying these fucking shitty Skechers shoes like this, looking for my dog. I keep hearing him. Finally, I see him across this deep creek on the other side of a cattle fence. There's no way to get to him because the cattle, no way for him to get to me because he somehow made it across the creek, but he didn't feel like swimming it again, I guess. I can barely see him over there. I see his eyes. I'm like, come here, come on. He's like, no. So I just start flashing the light over to the left towards the gate. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. I'm like, okay, I could climb over and then I could put him on top of me and climb back, but we're talking 500 pounds of meat trying to get over that gate. So the top of these types of gates, the slats are a little taller than at the bottom. So I got him to put his paws up and I grab him. And it was like, dude, it was like putting a bratwurst in a fucking rubber. I'm like trying to pull him through that fucking gate all the way through.
It's like the worst episode of Scooby-Doo ever.
It's terrible. So of course I pull him through and I fall down completely in the mud. He gets through. We have to repeat this for 2 more gates now. I just want to let you know that we have to repeat this process for 2 more gates.
Including the mud?
Oh yeah. Or I didn't fall down again. And then I'm still carrying my shoes. And at some point I'm just like, fuck you. And I swatted him in the butt with one of my shoes. I'm like, fuck you, dude. You suck. And I should have just left you out here. And he's just kind of walking next to me. Glitch. I'm up to my shins and sometimes my knees in mud trying to get back. This is midnight. And then I try to put the shoes on. And it's like, there's no way these shoes are going on my feet now. So I'm barefoot walking across the highway, walking up this rock gravel driveway that we have for about 300 meters. Then we get up to the house and he hides underneath the hay baler because he knows I'm pissed at him and won't come in the house.
I bet you know all the latest swear words.
Oh my fucking God. So finally get him into the house. First thing I do is throw him in the shower and he's really, he goes right into the shower, which was cool. He knew. And so I get the hot water on him. Usually he just like, okay, I'm done with the shower. I need to get out and, go do some. I could not get him out of the shower. He's like, fuck no, this is great. This is hot water now. So he sat in the shower for like 20 minutes waiting for me to come back and give him another shower. God bless America. That dog has not moved today. He had breakfast this morning. Otherwise, he's been sacked out all day underneath his husky blanket next to me.
Didn't he like go outside and shit or piss or something?
No, he hasn't even asked. He hasn't even looked at me. He's just like, I think he's grateful to be alive in a couple of different ways, if you know what I mean.
Probably doing some self-penance as well.
Oh, probably, I mean, as angry as I was, and yes, I was angry. I had to laugh my ass off when I woke up this morning after 2 hours of sleep and was like, okay, that's pretty fucking funny though. That whole affair. Could you imagine if somebody had filmed that whole thing, me out there? Yeah, 200.
I was just thinking we could have probably gotten some money for that. A lot of money.
Walking around these marshes and cattle pastures and roads and swamps with my bare feet, with my little flashlight, my shoes, and my old coonhound barely walking beside me. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I wonder why I live by myself.
That would have made a good comedy movie.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But anyway,
the only thing that would have made it better is if I could have texted you in the middle of that and asked how you were doing, just to get the cuss out response. You cocksucker! Don't you ever fucking text me again?
Yeah, I was in a mood. Especially, he finally decided to let me know he wanted to come back at midnight after being gone since 7:30 in the morning. So that was nice. So, Puppy's going to be tied up for the rest of his life now, or on a leash for the rest of his life now. I can't do that again, but anyway. Oh well, that's the price of love, I guess, right? And of course, last night before all this, I'm like, fuck, I come back, fuck, this is what happens when you care about something and you fuck it all the time and love I put into this thing. That's just what happens. Fucking nothing matters, and I'm just, feeling sorry for myself and doing that whole routine.
Then God is like, well, let's see how much you really love that dog.
Yeah. I think I proved it last night. Yeah. Well, let's get in. Let's get into 2023, bud. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to look at here. What I did was I'm going to having
This
about
is
as
awesome.
much.
I'm enjoying this.
I'm having about as much success with this as I was with my dog last night.
Maybe it's carrying over.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Fifth Dimension with Up, Up, and Away in My Beautiful Balloon on your classic hits.
Yes, now I see it. It's there.
All right. Rally. All right. So, Russ, one of the biggest stories of the year, people probably have already forgotten about it because there's so much going on all the time, was the Chinese spy balloon gate. Tell us what you remember.
So the Chinese sent a hot air balloon, kinda, to spy, flying over several military installations in the United States. The Biden administration decided that it would be really hunky-dory if it let it complete its journey and get over the ocean before they shot it down. A couple of interesting facts about this. Apparently, the Biden administration wasn't going to do anything, and they were hoping that the public wouldn't notice. But when it got spotted over Montana, they said they felt political pressure. The thing was, from the recovered debris, if I've read my news right, the balloon was set to self-destruct over the ocean anyway. So we basically did the Chinese work for them after the balloon had completed its mission. So yay for us in showing absolutely no backbone and letting the Chinese run a spy mission over the entire continent of the United States and part of Alaska.
Yep, that's what I remember too. Just gross incompetence is the catchphrase for the 2023 Biden administration. Just absolute gross incompetence. Okay, next up, King Charles and his hot fucking wife. What a couple of hotties.
The most useless rich person on the face of the planet. The King of England, who has no power but lots of money. Look at that smile. Nothing says British like those teeth. And then
yeah,
I guess it's Queen Camilla now.
I guess
the one he was having the affair with. It wasn't that he had an affair with her when he was still married to Diana.
Yeah, check this out too. Dude was having an affair with that while he was married to arguably the most beautiful woman on planet Earth.
She was attractive. Now she was a bit of a ditz, but he probably shouldn't have cheated on her with that thing. Charles
Gargamel there or whatever the fuck. That's like Sigmund and the Sea Monsters looking
that
shit.
Picture right there. It doesn't even look like she's smiling. It looks like Charles has farted and she's smelling it all of a sudden.
I was thinking she looked like a fucking like Shih Tzu or Pekingese who's like looking at a treat that her fat Karen owner is dangling in front of her.
And look, on Charles's coat, all those medals. How in the hell did he earn all those medals? He didn't earn dick. Nobody's putting him in harm's way for anything.
Yeah, there was a I read extensively about it. I don't remember what it's called, but it's pretty scandalous. There was something created by King George, World War II King George, where all these royals are assigned basically they're a duke of something or a duchess of something of some province or territory in Great Britain, and when people die and that money, whatever money or assets they have goes unclaimed, if they don't have family, it goes into a royal fund. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
So King George created this prior to World War II. So all these soldiers that fit underneath his barony, he was getting all the proceeds for that. Now it was supposed to be that these proceeds would go towards charity and some other things that were managed by that king. But it turns out that King Charles has been using, or not King Charles, King Charles, well, and Prince Charles before that was using these proceeds to do things like improve his properties all over the place that he owned, which make a boatload of money on B&B and all this other stuff. So basically, he was pocketing the profits from these dead people. So it's become this huge thing in England, a big scandal, because Prince Charles is the first person to do this. Obviously, King George. It's been a few people. I'm sure Queen Elizabeth enjoyed it too. But yeah, big scandal. So like, anytime somebody dies and their assets go unclaimed, goes into his pocket.
Well, I mean, look, how old is the dude? What is he, 78, 79 now, something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, he ain't gonna be on the throne but for maybe another 10 years, and he ain't gonna know who he is but for maybe another 6 or 7.
Right.
I mean, Queen Elizabeth, God bless her, she lived a really long time, and even with the best medical care, living past 100 is unusual.
Right.
So, we're gonna have King William probably before 2040, if I had to make a guess.
I would too. And boy, is that going to be a hoot.
It'll be interesting. I mean, we'll see what happens with Prince Harry and Princess Meghan Markle. And if they get welcomed back in, or Queen Catherine. I guess they're gonna have to go with Queen Catherine, not Queen Kate.
Queen Kate. Yeah, she'll have to go by
weird.
Catherine. And she out of all of those people, that she seems the one to have her head on the most straight. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I tend to agree with that. Now it's interesting. There've been a few movies out about it, making it look like a one of these rom-coms. I tend to doubt it was quite as wacky as it's been portrayed. But
wacky.
The other thing, what exactly does the king do? Nothing. They haven't had any power for centuries.
Right. There was this thing called the Magna Carta.
Yeah. Well, the last monarch that had any kind of actual influence was probably Victoria. So for more than a century, British monarchs have done nothing. So, but they won't get rid of them because it's tradition. But it's one of the most useless posts on earth, filled by one of the most useless men on earth.
Indeed. All right, let's get to it here. Primary season, baby. Primary season. So we're going to talk Republican because we know what's going to happen on the Democratic side. It'll be the California governor will somehow weasel his way in there. Okay, I don't know that for sure, but it's not a bad prediction. So the guy that we like, not looking too good for him.
No, he's probably warming up for 2028.
Yeah, I think Ron DeSantis is doing doing a rehearsal for 2028. We've got this chick
who does not know how to answer a damn thing.
Oh my God!
What she said earlier today or yesterday?
Yes, didn't she just step on it about the Civil War?
Here's a really easy way to answer that question if you are a Republican nominee. When they say, "Can you talk about what the underlying issue of the Civil War is?" You say, "Sure. 11 slaveholding states run by Democrats decided that they wanted to run away from a duly elected Republican president." That's the way you answer the question.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, over 500,000 Americans lost their lives to free the slaves. That's something you might want to throw in there too, just because people think this is such an awful country. Yeah, she really stepped on it. She doesn't have a chance, although I think there might be a place for her in the Trump administration.
Well, just so you know, I'm hearing rumors that Trump is inquiring about making her the VP. So because this great anti-establishment candidate, if he makes her the VP, I mean, again, the Trump folks, it's a cult. They're not following his policies. He's not anti-establishment. They're following the man.
Yep. Well, and Nikki Haley, I actually do, all bullshit aside, I do have some respect for her as far as her work in the government, governor, and in the State Department. I do. She's done some good things, and God bless her. She just should stay away from the top billing in the land. I'm just saying. I think she poops things that are smarter than Kamala Harris. So you got that going for you.
But look, she would have been a good candidate in the late 80s or 90s.
That's exactly right.
She is very much a politician. She answers every question trying to thread the needle as much as possible. There's things about her I like, but there's things about her that just scream, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush.
Well, and talking about, just to continue that conversation, during the last Republican debate, when this guy had to come to her defense against that guy right there, I'm talking Governor Christie over Vivek. She sat there like a little girl. I mean, she sat there like she had hurt feelings and she was going to cry when Christie had to jump in and save her. I thought that was kind of embarrassing for her.
Yeah, but look, at this point, I don't know why Chris Christie's still in the race. Chris Christie, if he stays in the race, will be the reason Donald Trump wins New Hampshire, because Christie's support would go to Haley for the most part because it's part of the anti-Trump wing of the party.
Right.
If DeSantis dropped out, most of his support goes to Trump. Or if Trump dropped out, which would never happen, most of his support would go to DeSantis. Christie's would go to Haley. So he may be the reason Donald Trump wins New Hampshire walking away. And Vivek, oh my God, Vivek, you are not ready for prime time. You can be smart at times, but you are that annoying little shit in class, standing on his chair, raising his hand, hoping to get the teacher to notice you. I mean, gee, Vivek, dial it back like several notches, okay? Everybody knows what you're vying for is either to be a Senate nominee, a Senate candidate in Ohio, or a slot as, I don't know, Secretary of the Interior or something in the Trump administration. You got nothing, just... Yeah, and Vivek is also starting to come across like a politician. He did not talk like this before he got in the race.
No,
I know.
didn't.
I've heard several interviews with him, and now he is all about trying to out-Trump Trump, which is never going to happen.
I like Vivek when he's Vivek. I don't like Vivek the politician. I actually
Exactly.
I like the guy a lot, actually. Governor Christie, of course, I think it's just sheer entertainment that he's still in, and
Christie's moment was 2012, but he didn't want to run against an incumbent.
right.
But what Christie shows is when you lose your moment, you're done. You're not going to come back. If he had run in 2012, he stood a legit shot at beating Barack Obama.
He did.
But he did not want to face an incumbent, and so he didn't jump in. And we got Mitt Milquetoast Romney running against Barack Obama, and that's one of the things that has helped push the country towards ruin.
Indeed. So now we're down 1, down 2, and we know what the answer is, Ross. There it is. Yeah.
Donald Trump's going to win the nomination. For those, y'all will know this by now because it will have been out. But breaking news as we are recording this podcast, the Maine Secretary of State, completely independent of any other court decision within her state, has declared Trump to be ineligible for the Maine primary ballot. And I'm sure if he was somehow the nominee, she would try to keep him off of the general election ballot.
Yep.
Folks, we're going to war. I hate to say it. I don't see any way around it. This is the kind of stuff that starts wars. And if it's like this now in primaries, what do y'all think happens if Trump manages to win the general election?
Yeah. That's the scary thing. Not that I think we should settle for a Democratic president in lieu of.
No, but if he beats Biden, do you think Democrats are going to allow him to take the oath of office? And then how do you think the Trump supporters react when they block him?
Right.
We're going to war, folks. I hate saying that, and I want to be wrong. I'm not. We're going to war, and stuff like this is why.
Make sure you know how to sew. That's all, and smoke fish and shit. All right, let's move on. Okay, this was kind of an interest. I don't think a lot of people remember this, but it was kind of interesting for those of you that don't know. The Wagner Group, which is a mercenary group that did extensive mercenary jobs for Russia, not just in Ukraine, but throughout. Yevgeny Prigozhin was the name of the leader of that. There's that guy. Died mysteriously, and if you could see me, that's in quotation marks. Died mysteriously in a plane crash. Now, nobody can prove it, but this guy's saying bye-bye. And when Yevgeny died, and Russ can bring you up to speed in a few quick ones on why maybe this happened, this was his reaction, I heard, allegedly. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, Yevgeny was tired of being Putin's bitch in Ukraine, and he was losing his force, his mercenary force, which was his power base. So he tried to lead a coup against Vladimir Putin. It's like the Keystone Cops. I mean, they weren't going to overthrow Putin, but Putin was too afraid to really do anything there. And somehow they made up, or Putin claimed they made up. And then, wouldn't you know it, there's this plane crash. It's kind of amazing how people who cross Vladimir Putin end up falling from high places. They either plane crashes or they get thrown off the rooftops of buildings. Somehow they encounter large sources of polonium and die of radiation poisoning. I mean, it's astounding. But this is how people in the United States do not understand how uncivilized the world is. This is how the rest of the world deals with. This is how the rest of the world solves these issues, whether we like it or not. We don't live in a civilized world. We live in a jungle, and we are a small civilized outpost within that jungle.
We're an archipelago in the ocean, baby. That's really what it is. Surrounded by deep, dark, mysterious, scary, deadly water on all sides. So that shining city on the hill that Ronald Reagan spoke of, that's what we were supposed to be. We're probably not that anymore. But well, and you know what? We still are. Let me be fair about that. There's a small minority of douchebag fuckface leftist. Yeah. Anyway, I'll quit cussing, who make this country look bad, but it's a minority of people. Most Americans are honest, hardworking, patriotic folk who give a fuck, and God bless America. All right, Russ, not all the news from this last year was bad. There was a couple of countries that semi pulled their heads out of their asses. I'm referring specifically to Argentina and the Netherlands, or Holland, familiarly, that elected conservatives. Over in the Netherlands, we have this guy. The amazing thing is, when I pulled up photos on both these guys, it was just the hair. It's like like the trinity of hair is Trump and Wilders and Million. But anyway, this is Geert Wilders, the Netherlands new I guess prime minister, right? Not
He
president.
will be once they form a coalition government. Yes.
Right. And he served a long time in their whatever they call their government,
Their version of parliament. Yeah.
their version of parliament. And then over there in Argentina, which is a huge thing considering the history of Argentina in near history, is they elected this guy, and I fucking love this guy. I'm just a couple of things. Javier Milei is his name, and he's a libertarian, really. I mean, if you look at
Big one.
yeah, big time. He laid off 50% of all the government workers since he has taken office. 50%.
And he closed 12 of the 21 government agencies.
God bless him. God bless him.
First of all, for those who can't see the pictures on the podcast because you're just listening online or something, Javier Milei, I love him. He does look like a character out of Planet of the Apes in that picture. You get the hair framing the face like that. But Milei, I mean, Argentina is in free fall. It's in collapse. And so it's going to take something radical to get it out. Milei is an economist. He's a libertarian. And he said, hey, we've been sucking shit for a while. We need radical change. I'm going to, reduce the size of the government. And so far, he has followed through on that. Geert Wilders has a couple of claims to fame. The first being that he is very stridently anti-immigrant, especially anti-Muslim immigrant from the Middle East. Second, one of the reasons that he was elected was because the uber leftist government in Amsterdam decided that they were going to enact all these wild, crazy climate justice schemes and started banning Dutch farmers from using nitrogen-based, ammonia-based fertilizers. And so what that meant was crop yields were down. They couldn't grow anything. They couldn't sell their shit. They couldn't feed their families. And people suddenly said, hey, you know what we need to survive? Food. So it comes down to a choice between the guy who says, hey, I'm going to let the farmers grow food so you can eat, and all these other folks who basically are on the depopulation bandwagon, which reminds me, there was a guy I saw a day or two ago who said that there's got to be a civil way to reduce the planet's population by 87.5%. And I'm like, okay, dude, you volunteer your family first. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I got a quote here from Geert Wilders. I don't hate Muslims. I just hate Islam.
Oh my. Okay.
I can't not agree with that. Maybe that's controversial.
Well, it's the radicalized folks that are being let in just willy-nilly because of some kind of misplaced sense of compassion. It's one thing if folks want to immigrate to a country and assimilate to its values, bring some aspects of their culture that can blend with the society, but the radical Islamists are not blending. They're trying to take over. This is part of what they've done for centuries. It's actually, in some of their manifestos. So Geert Wilders is one of those that's like, all right, I've had enough. Viktor Orban is another. Poland, I don't remember who's running Poland right now, but Poland's another that are like that. And I think it's going to get that way in France. If you've seen some of the riots And Marine Le
Right.
Pen is probably going to be the next president of France.
France is used to being invaded over and over and over and over again. So
Now,
nothing.
France is used to losing wars. I don't know if they've been invaded all that often.
Germany did it twice quite successfully, but I'm just saying.
Oh, that's true. I mean, you got to remember that widespread use of condoms prevented an improvement in the French bloodline.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because a couple of quick things and we'll move on. The anti-immigrant wave that's going on. People don't realize, a lot of the socialists in the United States look at countries like Sweden and Norway and some of these other as the look at what they're able to do to pay for university, pay for all healthcare and stuff like that. Do you realize that these are the motherfucking most homogenized societies on
Oh
planet?
yeah.
That our whole thing about multiculturalism and diversity is strength. It's really not. An adherence to a core set of values, e pluribus unum, that it says on the motto on the coin is from many one. It's not from a whole bunch. That's why those things work in those countries, because they're homogenized. They're not like what we're trying to do here in the United States, where we have a whole bunch of little nations in the United States and a whole bunch of little cultures and societies. People don't realize that they have their heads
They're
up their ass.
homogenized on many levels, ethnically, demographically, religiously.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is not. They don't have a diversity.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting clip on YouTube where somebody was asking one of these lefties that are all about, the United States sucks and all this other stuff. Was asking her obviously the United States is the best nation on earth, best system, right? She said, "Oh no, there's other nations that are better." He says, "Well, which ones?" And of course, she goes to the Scandinavian, Denmark and Norway and Sweden. He says, "Hold up. You're not talking Turkey, right? Oh no, not Turkey. You're not talking like Sudan, right? Oh no, not Sudan. You're not talking, like Thailand, right? Oh no, not Thailand." And so the only nations you can find that you think have a better system are European nations that are more homogeneously white than the United States. And she kind of went, radio silence at that point.
By far. 70%, right around 68 to 70% of this country is white, and you go to a place like Norway,
But like 90%.
90 plus percent. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. This was a big thing, and this was a tragic thing, and it was a gross negligence on part of government. That's what the biggest problem here was we're talking about the Hawaii wildfires that happened in Maui. Russ, trying to make sure I get this right. 100 people dead and over 6 billion with a B in damages, and that cost keeps going up as they keep relooking it. And for our folks on YouTube, we don't want to forget about this angle that also was part of the debacle of the Hawaii wildfires. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Maui basically burned to the ground, especially Lahaina. I've been to Lahaina a couple of times. It's a beautiful little seaside tourist resort town. The wildfire started, and then the police decided that they were going to put up barricades that kept people from leaving because it was unsafe for them to travel down the roads and away from the fire that was engulfing everything, which I think encapsulates government, just perfectly. There was also, some folks were like, we need to release the water reserves to put these fires out. And the government of Maui was like, well, we need to get the right approvals. We need to have the right bureaucracies look at it. By the time they finally made the decision, the valves had melted, so they couldn't actually get in to tap the water sources. You got The Rock and Oprah trying to shill for money. No word from them how much money they gave out. I mean, I know Oprah's a billionaire. I don't know how much The Rock has, but he's got hundreds of millions of dollars at least, I think. They didn't talk about giving away their fortunes. They want everybody else to give away their money for it, which is fine. If you want to donate to the victims of the Maui wildfires, great, let's do that. But I don't think a couple of rich folks who talked about that they just kind of like vacationing in Maui are really the right spokespeople for that.
Yeah, that was a classic step on your labia in the case of Oprah move there. I heard that they hang that low. All right, we'll move on. I don't know how much time we need to spend on this because you and I talk about this a lot, but the October attack of Hamas against Israel. Hamas are just full of wonderful people, and the Palestinian people are just wonderful people, and it's just, Israel is an occupier and a colonist of that region. So hell with Israel. That's obviously sarcasm. But here's the thing. Israel is the second most potent military in the world. They're going to take care of business. I'm glad that Netanyahu is not giving in to the pressure of all this bullshit UN and leftist ceasefire and stop and be nice and all that stuff. Matter of fact, I was just reading this morning about how they're scaling up operations to get rid of Hamas. So God bless the Israelis. The tragedy that happened in October is inexcusable. And for me, there's no reason for the people that voted Hamas in, or for Hamas or any of those terrorist organizations to exist on planet Earth anymore. I'm going to say it that coldly.
Yeah. So 3 quick things on this. First of all, Hamas fucked around, and they're in the middle of finding out. Okay, they're whining to the world because they're getting their ass kicked and they can't do anything about it. Second thing is, I've heard from a couple of folks that, well, those elections were rigged. The Palestinian people would never have voted in Hamas. Okay, well, if Hamas is some kind of illegal occupying force, then you should be cheering on the Israelis going in there and wiping them out so that Palestinian people can live under a government that's not Hamas. Problem solved, right? And third thing, for all the whining everybody does, and talk about how Israel's a colonizer. I hate to put this like this, but the Arabs are not indigenous to that area. They didn't get to the area of Israel until the 7th century, and they did it by the way that they spread Islam everywhere, which was through conquest. And now everybody seems all matty-watty that their military sucks, and the Palestinian military and Hamas aren't any good, and the Israeli military is good. So you know what? If you're cowards that hide behind women and children and you can't, fight on your own on the battlefield, I don't want to hear your bullshit. So, you're going to get your ass kicked. You're going to deserve it. Go back and cry some more. I don't care.
Gotcha. Amen. All right. Last but not least, our 2 Grumpy Bastards memoriam for some of the folks, and this is by no means an inclusive list, but some of the more prominent people that we lost this year. People that I don't like, I didn't put on this list because I don't really care. First of all, Matthew Perry. Let's just each say a quick blurb about each one of these as I put these up, Russ. Matthew Perry, the only funny one on that entire show, friends.
Could there be anything more tragic?
No.
Yeah, look, I like Matthew Perry. I actually, y'all probably don't know this, but I actually enjoyed him in the first show that I ever saw him in. I can't remember the name of it, but basically it was an older version of himself coming down to put him on the right path so that when he died later in life, he didn't go to hell. I can't remember the name of that show.
I don't know that I've seen that.
Oh, you don't? You're going to look. Oh, I cannot remember the name of that show. It ended up morphing into a show called Boys Will Be Boys. But the first part, basically his older self character died in a car crash, went up to heaven, and St. Peter. Did you ever see Sister Act?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. The Monsignor in that was St. Peter.
Okay.
In the show.
Okay.
Put the older Matthew Perry character on this little square to determine if he's going to go to heaven or hell, and it pointed to both of them. So he wasn't right for heaven. He wasn't right for hell. So they said, you're going to go back to your teenage self, and if you can do better, then you'll end up going to heaven. And so it goes down, and misadventures, wacky stuff ends up following.
I have to look that up.
Yeah, I cannot remember the name of that show for the life of me. I actually clicked on it on YouTube recently.
I'll IMDb it. An underrated comedy from back in the day, which he was brilliant in, is The Whole Nine Yards with Bruce Willis.
Oh, I love that movie. That's awesome.
He's brilliant, and what I loved about him in that is he had his physical comedy was tremendous. I mean, he was like Jerry Lewis kind of level of physical comedy, and just his aw shucks and fish out of water kind of guy. For those of you who haven't seen that, The Whole Nine Yards, it's one of my favorite comedies of all time. And both
it's great. Plus, you get to see Amantha Pete topless.
That's true. Yeah, the window scene. How do you and I both remember that? That's kind of crazy.
But Matthew Perry, he had some drug problems. I guess he was taking ketamine for depression. Probably not the best thing to do that and sit in a hot tub at the same time.
Yeah. No, God bless him. I will miss him. Tortured soul. I kind of identify with some of what he has gone through. So, Yeah, it made me really sad. It made me really sad. Just a funny, good dude. Next is Daylight Come and Me Wanna Go Home. Daylight Come and Me Wanna Go Home. Thank you. Harry Belafonte, because I remember my mom playing his records when I was a little
He was
kid.
a communist prick.
Yeah, but but it reminds me of my mom, so
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to insult that memory. I just, in my last decade or so of knowing what Harry Belafonte was all about.
I know, but I had to memorialize. A non-communist prick that we both have some admiration for, a complicated man, was Henry Kissinger, Russ.
Henry Kissinger, the guy who implemented a policy known as realpolitik, which is try to see the world realistically, not idealistically. And his political solutions were always aimed at avoiding the worst possible outcome, which meant that he didn't necessarily come up with the best possible outcome. And then, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, and this I know pisses off a lot of lefties, didn't Henry Kissinger win the Nobel Peace Prize for ending the Vietnam War?
He sure did.
So there's that. I've seen a few people who can't believe he lived to be 100. Well, he did. He was once considered the smartest man on earth. Don't know if I agree with that. He's got a complicated legacy, but
definitely has a complicated legacy, but definitely a great American in many ways.
Yeah, he was doing what he thought was right.
Absolutely, and he was dedicated to his country, and he was dedicated to the ideals of conservatism and patriotism and all that. So great man. He, in my opinion. Oh my God, what can't you say about this lovely woman? I'm just gonna say it. Tina Turner was sexy till the day she died. I don't know what she looked like when she died, but this is like one of the coolest, most talented, beautiful women that's ever lived in showbiz history, in my opinion.
Yeah, what's love got to do with it, man? I mean, I first heard her music. I want to say I was in 5th or 6th grade. That's when What's Love Got to Do with It made it big. The only movie I ever saw her in was Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
She was awesome.
She was awesome in that movie. There were several other songs. She helped define the age of soul, the age of Motown.
She survived. She survived Ike Turner, which means she's a tough broad.
Oh yeah. Didn't she end up being a citizen of France or Switzerland near the end?
I don't know that. I
know she spoke fluent French. I do remember reading that.
Yeah, just one of those people that you go, God, I wish I'd have met her. I bet you it just would have been fucking cool just to meet her, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it was one thing for Sheryl Crow to kiss me at the Hard Rock Casino back in '95. That was pretty cool, but I don't know. Maybe I'd trade meeting Tina Turner for that. Well, maybe I don't.
Name dropping these things.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right. All right. Next, Sinead O'Connor. I said I wasn't going to put anybody up here that I didn't like, but I lied. I just thought.
I forgot she died.
Yeah, I know. That's why I put it up here, because I forgot she died too. And all these celebrities like, oh my God, you meant so much to me. You mean that one hit song and her ripping up a photo of the Pope? I'm not, you know what? Let's not disparage her. She also was a complicated person who dealt with some severe mental health issues and all that. So God, I hope she found her rest. I really do.
I think the biggest irony
I pray for her.
She didn't want to be elevated because of her looks. So she shaved her head and made her look even more unique.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. No, it's
actually. I think one of the first times I ever slow danced with a girl was to "Nothing Compares to You."
It's a really good song. It was written by Prince, by the way. It's a really good song. She was a talent. Absolute, she was a talent. No doubt about that. I feel bad for her. I'm not going to make fun at all because I feel bad for her tragic life and some of the things.
First girl I ever slow danced with, I think I was a junior in high school. Shows you how my prowess was.
How big was the boner in your dungarees?
Oh, it was good. It was nice.
It was good. Oh, thank you for that. Okay. All right, here we go. People probably don't realize that Albus
Michael
Dumbledore,
Gambon.
Michael Gambon, who's a fantastic actor who has a huge body of work outside of Dumbledore. He played. I'm trying to think. He played a lot of his spectacularly great historical characters. He kind of like Gary Oldman in that way. He played LBJ in a movie that I thought was really interesting. Lyndon Baines Johnson, of course, the Kennedy's successor. He was wonderful in that and was very believable. It's funny how they get these Englishmen to play these great American historical figures like Gary Oldman and Michael Gambon and some of these other guys. But he'll be missed.
Christian Bale was Batman.
Yeah, right. I mean, he'll and Henry Cavill, Superman, really.
Now,
He's as English as you can possibly get if you ever listen to him. But no, I just real quick on Michael Gambon. I just thought he was a fantastic actor. I was always a huge fan, and everybody was sad when Sir Richard Harris passed and was no longer Albus Dumbledore. But I thought he stepped in. I've watched all the Harry Potter movies. Harry Potter. I just said that. Harry Potter. Do you have to go potty, Harry? You're mental. He stepped in, I thought, admirably, and it kind of gave a different kind of angle to the character that I really appreciated in the last few movies.
You and I may clash on this. I did not like his interpretation of Dumbledore.
I did. I liked it.
I thought Richard Harris. Now, granted, Richard Harris couldn't continue because he was dead. He died after the second movie in real life.
Somebody would have bit him. They could have made him a zombie and shit. You know?
I thought that Richard Harris captured Dumbledore perfectly. I thought Karan was. I'm sorry. I thought Gambon was a little too emotional, a little too out there. I just did not. Dumbledore in the books, he intentionally gave off an air of being kind of crazy, but he was perfectly in control of everything, and the crazy bit was an act. I think Gambon blurred that line more than it needed to be.
Yeah, we do disagree on this, so we won't wrangle over dead people. But I thought as the character kind of changed in the books, I think Gambon kind of captured that change a little bit and how that character was perceived. But all good.
Free to be wrong.
That I guess there's a first time for everything. So, well, I've been wrong like 3 times, just not with you ever. All right, let's keep going here. Making light of all these poor people. Music that I can't stand, nor do I listen to, but we got to talk about Margaritaville. Jimmy Buffett passed away this year and made a lot of people sad when he did.
Well, I mean, he's whether you like too many of their songs or not, he's the ultimate, beach bum, sit out there with a cold one in a lawn chair and do nothing kind of guy.
You got it. No, and like I said, not my music and not something I'd ever listen to again. I listened to it against my will, but just fun. It makes my heart happy to think about the life he probably led. I just seemed like he had a nice life and he didn't mind sharing that with people and wasn't self-conscious about that, which is cool.
You had to be in the right frame of mind and the right location to listen to Jimmy Buffett, in my opinion.
Probably correct. Next. This made me
Jerry
sad.
Springer.
This made me sad. This made
Godfather of trash TV.
I know, but he's actually a really interesting dude.
He was actually a mayor of Cincinnati.
He was. I mean, and I don't know, just an interesting guy. I saw a documentary about, I don't know, just he knew. The thing I admired about him was that the joke was on everybody. He knew what the joke was. He was in on it. He didn't take himself seriously, and the joke is on you if you take it seriously. That's what I loved about him. He was kind of like an Andy Kaufman type character that way. It's like, I'm making millions and millions of dollars doing this stupid shit, and it makes me laugh because you're all taking it so fucking seriously.
Well, and the thing was, he made the money preying on the crassness or trash mentality of the American public. He knew exactly where it was. He knew what he could do to draw an audience, and he made money off it. God bless him for doing that.
Yep. No, I don't have any problem with that. It's like when people complain about the fucking Kardashians of the world and stuff like that. It's like, fuck, man. They're doing it because you're stupid, and I admire that. I don't
complain about the Kardashians. I complain about the people who watch the Kardashians.
Exactly. But what they're doing, cool. Get on you. I don't care. That's what makes America beautiful, in my opinion. It makes you fucking stupid if you're the one paying into it. But hey. So anyway, last but not least, Russ, the person that passed away this year that hurts me the most, I will admit, and most of these folks that we have up here, I admire to one degree or another, but arguably the most beautiful woman that's ever lived. One of my very first crushes, and yes, I had this pinup in my room when I was a kid.
God.
Oh my God, she's so fucking fine. Raquel Welch. The world became a much colder, awfuler, less hot place when Raquel, the beautiful, maybe the most the queen of everything died this year.
I don't think I ever saw. I don't know if I ever saw Raquel in anything. I saw her daughter, Sophie or Sophia, however, whichever one it is, a couple of things.
Yeah, like Playboy, for instance.
Yeah, and let's just put it this way, folks. She does not groom like at all.
Oh my God.
Looks like somebody cut out a triangle of carpet and just pasted it over her groin.
That's feminine perfection right there. I just will admit that is. Anybody that wants to argue with me, go fuck yourself or book a flight to a parking lot within 2 or 3 miles from me right now. I'll say that. All right. Well, you all will be missed. God bless all of you for bringing things into our lives. That is all I'll say about that right there. All right, Russ. Well, we've been on for a bit, but we've got some shit to cut out. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to kind of randomly grab some videos for us that
Please do.
kind of encapsulate our year that we had. I'm actually going to randomly do this. I know people don't think that's true, but I'm going to randomly do this. Hoping that
you don't tell people we're random. You make them think that we completely planned this out to the gnat's ass detail.
Well, that was a pretty good PowerPoint presentation. You got to admit
it was.
Yeah. So, one of the first videos that I want to play. Here we go.
Girl, if you have tattoos, listen up. This is very important shit right now. If you could take that tattoo, then guess what else you can take? Your man's meat stick in your back door. Be fucking for real.
Okay. She would have been good on Jerry Springer.
Okay, I just had to throw that one at you. Okay.
Wow.
Well, I love her. I actually love her. It's actually not just like weird love, it's true love. All right. Kidding, of course. Let's see. There is you know what? I know. There is one video I want to play for sure that kind of encapsulates 2023. Hold on just a second. Let me find it. Here we go. You remember this one? Kind of similar, but this kind of just encapsulates 2023 to me, my bad.
That motherfucker back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can fucking die with them or not. I'm not going to.
So here's the thing.
The crazy lady who saw ghosts.
That kind of encapsulates 2023. And of course she's now like making a lot of money off that and her appearances and all that kind of thing.
I would.
Oh hell yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you? All right. I'll actually play some videos we can maybe actually discuss. Hold on. I'm going to play a couple of Dana White videos for those of you that don't remember what happened this year with all of that. Here we go.
You know, I know you say, hey, this is the fight business. People say nasty things, right? But the tension between those two and kind of the racial undertones and all those things, how do you...
What were the racial undertones?
Drigga says he's the real African fighter, and so, you know, Israel dropped some N-words in there tonight.
So what was the racial? Who did? Who dropped the racial?
Israel was saying over and over, yeah.
He's black.
50 N-bombs in there.
Okay, he's black. Who gives a shit?
I was going to say, so you don't have any concern about the way the build-up, the tension between those two?
I could care less. This is the fight business. Israel Adesanya can say whatever he wants to say. Who gives a shit? Why are people bitching about that?
Some people.
Of course they are. Oh, fucking A. All right, got it. Yeah. Too fucking bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Last thing.
I love Dana White.
I do too. Let me quickly share another video of his that we played earlier this year. And then we can talk a little bit about Dana White. Let me find it. I don't have a full-time producer off camera, folks, so you know, whatever.
So Rogan, if you're listening, you're better at this than we are.
Yeah, because he's got a guy that does nothing but this.
Yep.
Okay, here, hold on. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? You know what? I'm gonna be so fucking busy editing this
These 10 seconds of silence brought to you by Marcel Marceau.
Did you see that movie about him
No.
in World War II?
No.
Jesse Eisenberg plays him.
Really?
Yeah, I tried to watch.
Maybe a Jesse Eisenberg part I can actually watch because he shouldn't have to talk during it.
Yeah. Maybe I don't have that on here. I thought I did. You know which one I was talking about.
No, I don't remember. That last one I remembered.
When he's being interviewed by Theo Vaughn. Oh, here it is. All right.
Okay.
Give me just a pause here so I can edit this out. Easier for me to find.
It happens, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's happened a couple times, but yeah.
Oh, Peloton was we just got an update.
It was Peloton?
Was the band, for people who wanted an ad out, Peloton. And meanwhile, you have RFK.
So Peloton,
yeah.
What do they sell? Fucking bikes, the stationary bikes?
Yeah, dude.
Peloton sells stationary bikes, and they got a problem with Robert fucking Kennedy.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Peloton. Who the fuck are they?
Yeah, first of
right?
all,
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Fucking Peloton bitching about Robert Kennedy.
Yeah, dude, you want to go nowhere?
Who's the CEO of Peloton? I want to see this fucking guy.
I want to see this fucking lamb, dude. Hey, you know what gets you further than Peloton? Hitchhiking. Okay, how about that, dude?
Barry McCarthy.
So, real quick, who would have thought Theo Vaughn's become like a voice for the libertarian movement? It's pretty cool.
Oh, I know. And well, Dana White, he's got fuck you money. He doesn't care. So, one of the things I really enjoy about him, and Peloton. Do you remember you'd think that they'd be a little more sensitive to this stuff after the trouble they got into a couple of years ago. Do you remember that? The Christmas ad, the husband who got his wife a Peloton, they got in trouble with all the feminists about he's saying his wife is fat.
Right. Yeah, you would think. I don't know. It's also very stupid to me, bud. I don't even know what to think about it. All right. Let me share how you doing? You doing all right so far?
Yep.
I got an important piece of audio I need to share with you here.
Okay. I didn't notice how bad the gap between my teeth was. That's why I look so psychotic in pictures when I try to smile. That was my entire premarital sex life was called begging. See my various twitches and golden shower, but better. So I believe that I was where the term pity fuck came from. I didn't notice how bad the gap between my teeth was. That's why I look so psychotic in pictures when I try to smile. That was my entire premarital sex life was called begging. See my various twitches and golden shower, but better. So I believe that I was where the term pity fuck came from. Fuck you, Coop. See, folks, this is what happens when Coop is the sole producer of the show and he gets to pick up the bits.
I mean, do you want me to be fair and like do the same thing to myself? Because there's a lot of stupid shit that I've said too. So it's not even
the stuff I would.
It's not even stupid. It's just entertaining, man. I admire your veracity and your honesty and your ability to look within yourself. I do. I've always admired that about you.
My ability to call myself a pity fuck.
Yeah. That's something, all right. I don't know what it is, but it's something. All right. So we'll get back on track here.
Keep in mind, folks, I'm the one that's happily married to a woman for more than 20 years.
Hey, this is true. This is true. No doubt about that. Okay, let's do a couple of Kamala hits here. Because we all love whatever.
The Joker.
So I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
What is she saying?
I have no idea. Maybe we can figure out what she's saying on this next video. Maybe she'll describe this a little bit better. Who knows? We'll give it a try.
I want to welcome these leaders for coming in to have this very important discussion about some of the most pressing issues of our time. I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
What was that?
That was one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard.
Do her and AOC just try to out dumb fuck each other? I mean, is that like the game that they play? It's like a party game. It's like who can be the most meaningless dumb fuck that's ever lived that is in a high elected. Oh my god, it's fucking crazy.
I'm gonna scratch all my hair off trying to figure out what's going on. See, it's stuff like that that makes me lose faith in American democracy because it shows that anybody can get elected. Right.
Well, and to be fair, she didn't get elected. She was basically appointed as the vice president, as the one who gets elected.
I get that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
Even considering like the 98% leftist voters in the district where AOC came from, didn't anybody just stop and go, "Oh, is that the dumb C word that used to fucking pour me drinks at Billy's bar down there, who has a nice ass and not a thought in her head?" Didn't anybody think about that? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I actually look for something different. All right. Oh my God, my coonhound just smoked me out. Good
for him.
Yeah, hold on here. One of my favorite moments in one of my favorite videos that we played this year was my guy, and you know I love this guy.
Gentlemen, every day when I'm home in Texas,
I wish he was
I
president.
hear from Texans who are deeply dismayed about the growing politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. If you are not, every one of you should be deeply concerned about the damage being done to the integrity of the institutions in which you operate. My office hears regularly from FBI agents and from assistant U.S. attorneys who are likewise concerned about the politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI, and this is profoundly damaging to the rule of law in our nation. Last month, a whistleblower brought to light the existence in the FBI of a report, an FD 1023, in which the informant alleges that President Biden and his family members engaged in a $5 million bribery scheme during his time as vice president. Deputy Director Abadi, is it true that the FBI has a report making those allegations?
I'm not going to comment on that, Senator.
And why is that?
I'm just not going to comment on information we received, investigations, or
Do you owe an
ongoing matters.
obligation to the American people to be candid about evidence of corruption by the President of the United States?
This is an area that I'm not going to get into with you.
I'll cut that short. It's the ongoing thing, impeachment issues, anybody that wants to talk about anything going on with Trump. Really, what's the mirror look like when you turn that on yourself and the person you voted for?
They're vampires. They can't see that reflection.
I suppose so. I love Ted Cruz. He's probably my favorite person serving in government right now. And he's fearless. And I would recommend that podcast, The Verdict with Ted Cruz, but his co-host, who I hate so badly. I don't want to put any money in that guy's pocket. No, I'm kidding. It's very, very worth a listen. Libertarian, a fucking constitutional scholar. Lots of video of him excoriating the Department of Justice and the Biden administration and all that. Where's that get us, though? I'm not sure, Russ. That's the big thing moving forward in 2024. Does this even matter? Does any of this stuff matter? Since doesn't look like Hunter Biden's going to be coming and testifying anytime soon.
They need to put him in jail over that.
They do. Is this going to hurt Joe Biden? Any of this stuff? Is it actually going to? Is it actually going to hurt him? Any of it?
I think the drip of it is having an effect. It may not have an effect of turning people to vote for whoever the Republicans nominate.
Right.
But I think it's having an effect of turning off people for voting for him. So they're just going to stay home.
Yeah, it could be. I'm so damn depressed about the whole thing. I mean, any allegations like this in the past. I mean, think about what Nixon resigned over.
Yep.
It's not 1% as harmful as the stuff that Joe Biden is being accused of. Not even 1%. It's basically he I won't get into it, the whole Watergate thing, but it was basically, okay, we have a threat to national security based on these people in the Democratic Party, and I'm going to use my assets to do something about it. We had FBI agents who were surveilling and breaking into the Democratic National Headquarters and other issues and stuff like that. Geez, look, the Department of Justice hasn't surveilled anybody who's a conservative since Barack Obama or Joe Biden's been in office. No, it never happened, right? I mean, moms and dads being on the terrorist watch list because of their statements to school boards, conservative religious people.
Think about that for a second.
The IRS being
never happened.
Conservative organizations being audited by the IRS and people getting indicted for tax fraud, which wasn't true. All conservatives, all in the Republican Party, all that stuff actually happens and is still happening. Look what's happening to Donald Trump. Look what's happening to Donald Trump. And I don't know. I get so sickened by it. I don't know.
No,
anyway,
you're right on. I don't really have anything to add to that. It's part of what's leading to what's going to happen to the country. I hate saying that. That's what's going on.
I hear you. A couple more videos before we wrap it up, just for fun. I think we'll do a couple that are a little bit more not so educational. Oh, I got to put one Joe Biden one in here. Here we go. Here's our guy Joe. Hold on.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
What does he say?
Yeah, and that was before a press conference talking about a major shooting, by the way.
Yeah, that's he's an embarrassment. He needs to just go eat his chocolate chip ice cream and be out of public life.
He's great. I love him. He's so effective. I mean, Adam Schiff will tell you every day that he's very effective.
He makes Carter look competent.
Oh, Carter at least was a good dude. This guy's fucking horrible. All right. Yep. One of my least favorite people on planet Earth, and I wish she'd go away.
What do you call it here at the White House when 10,000 people illegally cross the border in a single day?
So what do you call it, Peter, when GOP puts forth a wait, no, you can't. I'm answering. Okay, we're going to move on. No, we're moving on.
Great,
moving.
please.
In the back.
You said you were stopping the flow at the border.
No, I tried to answer, Peter, I tried to answer the question, you stopped me.
One of the least competent people on the planet.
And they've never had a competent person in that role. I mean, can you imagine? Forgive me, McNamee, what was her name?
Kayleigh McEnany.
Katie McEnany. I don't know why I can never pronounce her last name. How brilliant and confident and competent she was, and she had a lot of work to do covering for Trump. She fought. Oh my God, that woman had to go through hell. And she was brilliant at it, and she was forthright and honest and would answer any questions. And this piece of fucking intersectionality hire, this is DEI at its best right here. This is diversity, equity, and inclusiveness at its best right here. To hire that foppish piece of shit of a human being to be your press secretary. She's an embarrassment. She hates America. She's a liar. She's a sack of shit.
She's completely incompetent. She's got no business being up there. I can't really say anything more than what you said. She's an embarrassment to be up there, and of course, now keep in mind she's trying to cover for the least competent administration of my lifetime.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Let me give. Let's see. I'm looking up here. Oh! Because this is one of my favorite people of 2023, one of my champions, or one of my heroes, I should say. Just watched her long form interview with Jordan Peterson. I love this woman. she's taken and way too young for me. But
chance to respond to something that Leah Thomas said recently, publicly. She said this publicly. They're using this quote now. They're using the guise of feminism. They meaning you, using the guise of feminism to sort of push transphobic beliefs. Meaning you advocating for women's rights is actually just a cover for transphobia. Do you want to respond to that?
Feminism is not a fluid term. The original and the meaning of what it means to be a feminist is to uphold, respect, honor, embrace, and celebrate women on our own physical ceilings, our own uniqueness. That term has not changed. And what this really is a male mansplaining what it is to be a feminist, which I honestly think is pretty ironic, and it's something we've seen before.
Women and some that are shorter. You don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
I never get tired of that little thing that I did at the end of our video. I never get tired of it. I could watch it all day, every day, and eat like fucking Captain Crunch and die fat and happy.
Fruit Loops.
Riley Gaines. I did want to talk about her before we ended today. I think she's one of the heroes of 2023. I admire the shit out of that lady. She's taken a controversial stand. At one point, she was pinned in a classroom at a university for 3.5 hours because people were trying to assault her after a talk on a campus. This is how wonderful the loving left and the accepting left is, trying to assault somebody for espousing an opinion, which is pro-feminist, by the way, which is pro-woman. What a lovely human being, a strong woman, a strong person, somebody that I would count as an ally any day of the week, Russ.
Yeah, very, very beautiful woman, very intelligent woman. She has been thrust into a spotlight that people older than she is would have trouble handling. She's shown great maturity, great resilience. It's hard to say enough good things about Riley Gaines. I like how she pointed out what happened to Serena and Venus when they faced that 203rd ranked player in the world that was, by the way, smoking and drinking beers between sets.
Well, hey, everybody, this is Coop, the handsome and debonair one of the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast. Not to mention I'm the only one that's an actual bastard. Google that shit. Don't, actually. Hey, I'm here to do a shameless plug for our merchandise. You can find us at 2grumpybastardsmerchandise.com. We got a whole bunch of new merchandise in. I think you'll like some of the new choices. There's some pro-Second Amendment. There's some anti-Washington State Governor stuff on there. I think you'll really appreciate it. New stuff coming all the time. I have 2 great designs in the works, so please, to support this podcast, that's one of the easiest ways to do it. We're also on Etsy. Yeah, I know, Etsy. You can find our products on eBay as well. Storm King Mercantile is the name of the store there that fronts us. And there's many, many other ways to support this podcast, of course. We have a Patreon page, same thing, 2 Grumpy Bastards. We certainly would appreciate you following us on Instagram. Most of you probably know we have a Facebook page, 2 Grumpy Bastards Podcast. We have a lot of fun over there, a lot of frivolity, a lot of memes, and a lot of hard-hitting news, believe it or not. A lot of great people in that group. Also, all of the social media outlets, including now on TikTok. You can find us there. And one of the things that I really wanted to tell you is if you have any feedback for Russ, especially because he kind of sucks, feel free to email us at 2grumpybastards gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us, or you can always leave us a comment or an IM on, or DM, I should say. See, I'm so savvy. I'm so savvy. On our Facebook page. So we really appreciate you listening or watching us over there on YouTube as well. And we hope you do both, because Russ is something to look at. I said something. I didn't say something really great to look at. Anyway, thanks for listening. This is your intrepid, amazing, and grateful host of the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast, Coop. Remember, keep your focus and stay wokeless.
I love that she's a realist, that she doesn't back down. Those eyes are pretty piercing. I will say that. She's got, she starts giving you that death stare, and you're like, oh my God, what did I do?
Yeah.
But
her husband is a, I bet you it doesn't wear the pants in the family. I'm just saying.
I don't know. She seems like she'd be a traditional woman in that relationship. It seems like. I'm
just being funny.
Yeah, just imagine the type of alpha male you have to be to corral Riley Gaines. I mean,
yeah.
That's an accomplishment.
What's interesting about her story is this wasn't somebody who went on social media and tried to create digital creator and all that shit. This is somebody who got thrust in the spotlight.
Oh yeah, she was pushed there.
She got pushed there, and against her will, really. I'm sure if she had her druthers, this never would have happened. But probably looking back, she's going good, because she's a spokesperson for the right movement at the right time. 2023 is going to be defined by this LGBTQ trans agenda when it really came to boil. That's what 2023 to me is. It's this whole thing. It's the Bud Light bullshit. And I didn't put any videos of that dude who pretends to be a woman, the Bud Light bitch. I didn't want to bring that up because yuck. It just enough publicity for that. It's going to be, I'm not a big fan of some of Matt Walsh's views, as conservative as he is and as isolationist and some of the stuff that he espouses. But his war on, I shouldn't say war on, but just defending the idea of traditional men and women roles and the backlash against mutilation of children and all this crazy
defending
stuff.
Reality.
Yes, defending reality. As I am fond of saying, and I know this doesn't make some of my friends comfortable, but when I'm confronted with somebody that corrects me about their pronouns, I very calmly and casually say, it is not my responsibility to support your delusion.
I have not encountered that situation in person.
I've encountered it probably 14 times, but I live in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And my answer is the same every time. It is not my responsibility to support your delusion.
Yeah.
And
did you see what happened at Delta Airlines recently?
That ends the conversation very, very fucking quickly. I'm not, no, you don't get to tell me what to say. You don't get to dictate my language. Fuck you.
Did you see what happened at Delta Airlines recently?
No.
Get this. All right, I'm back. Did you see what happened at Delta Airlines recently?
I did not, or I may have. I'm sorry.
Some trans influencer was misgendered by a Delta Airlines employee and tried to make a big deal out of it. And the Delta Airlines employee was like, it wasn't intentional. If you want to act butthurt about it, I can have you escorted out of the airport 3 days before Christmas. Is that the way you want to go?
Nice. Yeah, you know what? I'll be polite about it the first time. And the second time, if you want to escalate it, then I'll say DSM-5. I know what mental illness you suffer from. Are you getting counseling? I mean, I'll escalate it. I got all the facts on my side. No, shut up. Anybody that has their pronouns printed or pushed or put in anything or a signature block, you're not my fucking friend, dude. You know what? It's just a power move, and it's that same thing I talk about a million times every podcast. It's that stupid kid that finally has a voice on social media and other things because we've been dumbed down so much. I took my gal, we went through my hometown day before yesterday, and I showed her where we used to fight after school. I see this is the park I was talking about, and there used to be Beauty Park right there, and we'd slug it out. Nobody ever got seriously injured. Normally the guy would go, "Hey, you're pretty tough, man. Good fight," and shake hands, and they'd be friends and wipe their bloody noses off on their shirts and stuff like that and go home. No big deal. That's the way we used to handle things back in the day. Nobody got shot, nobody got hurt, nobody got killed. I said it in the last podcast. But now we're in a state where, hey, Russ, words are violence. Words are violent. You know, I'm a man who knows violence. I know what violence is. And let me tell you, words aren't fucking violence. I can show you what violence is.
Look, I've been shot at. I've helped, rush trench positions and had folks shoot RPGs my way. I know what violence is. Words are not violence. That just makes me laugh at how stupid you are. I think 2023 is going to go down as the year that people have finally had enough of the bullshit. The entire LGBTQ agenda kind of advanced from the mid 90s onward. And it reminds me of the speech by Captain Picard in Star Trek First Contact. They assimilate entire worlds and we fall back. They attack us and we fall back. The line must be drawn here, this far, no farther. And that's what it is people have finally said, okay, it's not about tolerance anymore. We got to accept reality. And I think the pendulum has started to swing the other way. Now, it's not going to swing back without a fight, but people have finally said, this is a bridge too far. I'm not playing the game that somehow says men are so awesome that they're even better at being women than women are. It's just not something we're going to do.
It's disgusting. Guys like you and me who spent our entire life being trained and cultured and having those core values about you're supposed to defend your women, you're supposed to take care of your women to a certain extent. Yes, you do. As much as I make fun of you about being a formula guy, well, part of that formula is putting those women on pedestals and being that traditional husband and father that makes the money and protects them physically and emotionally and everything that you can possibly do. That's what a man's supposed to do. A man's not supposed to put on a goddamn dress and go in a Bud Light commercial and pretend he's a chick. I'm sorry. And if you're confused that way, there's one thing I want people to take away from how I actually feel is there's a big, vast difference between disagreeing and hating somebody. It doesn't mean I hate you if I disagree with you. I might. I mean, sometimes they come in a package and it's nice and tied up in a nice little bow because I disagree. I don't fucking hate you. But you have to be a pretty shitty human being for me to hate you. You have to be morally corrupt and have some pretty seriously core value issues for me to hate you as a human being. I can disagree with you. I can even have sympathy for you if you have mental health issues. God knows I have sympathy for that. Put that in my pocket. Absolutely. But what I won't do is have you have the 0.1% of the people out there dictating what policy is or tell me I'm wrong in my beliefs on my Christian faith or my role in traditional dualism of men and women and all that stuff based on biology. Folks, I have a degree in biology from a prestigious university. I also have a background in medicine. I actually do kind of fucking know what I'm talking about. It's not just an opinion. I have science on my side. So it's not out of hate I say these things. It's out of losing the core value of this country and allowing people that do your thing, but keep your fucking thing to yourself. Okay? I'm not out here flipping my dick around and talking about what I do in my private life.
Don't flip your dick around.
I won't. It's not that big. I couldn't really do that anyway. But I don't do that. I talk about my faith. I talk about my dog. I talk about the Washington Huskies. I talk about politics, culture, whatever. But I do not put my sexuality on parade for everybody to see. I don't think that's correct. I think you need to fucking withdraw, fucking go off, have your community, whatever. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to come around and call you names. I'm not going to do that. I'm not that guy. Matter of fact, if somebody does bully you because of that and you mind your business, I will fucking take care of that bully for you. That's the kind of guy I am. But shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Go back in your corners, everybody, and shut up. Because let's have discussions. Let's talk about stuff you like. If you like to hike, if you like to do that stuff, wonderful. Shut the fuck up about your genitals for once, people. Shut up. That's what I want for 2024. Everybody have the New Year's resolution to don't talk about your genitals in 2024. I think that's our next T-shirt in the Two Grumpy Bastards merchandise.
Well, I mean, people want to talk about my genitals a lot. I mean, that's just topic of conversation. But
that's a short conversation. Oh,
hey, works for me.
Boom.
But no, it's these people that are mentally delusional. They have an outsized voice in the media, and they've managed to get to some of the positions of power, and people have been too afraid to stand up to them. They have this outsized view of what their power level is, and I don't think they realize that when the snapback really happens in earnest, they're going to find out just how alone they really are.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be like it, and it really is the big thing that's ignited this has become twofold. One, going after reality, pretending that I have to pretend you're something you're not, and then second, when they started coming after the kids, that people will start defending that with violence if necessary. And I think that's how it's going. I wish it wouldn't get there, but you're going to leave us no choice.
I think you're right, and I think you're hitting on it 100%. As far as when they started coming after the kids, and they admitted that they're coming after the kids, that's when we're done. We're done here. Tolerance is at its end. I'm not putting up with it, and what I think is interesting is I have several gay friends / acquaintances, even a couple of family members who are really, really, really sick about this whole alphabet soup that they've been lumped into, because
Yep.
they don't find any common core values with this trans movement at all. Being people in a traditional gay community or gay relationship, they find absolutely, and I'm sure I'm not talking for the gay community as a whole, but the people that I know, the vast majority of the people that I know that are gay, are like, this is fucking nuts. And especially when the kids thing gets involved, and one person, just real quick, Russ, one person that I admire, who I listen to on a daily basis, Dave Rubin, a podcaster, talk show, he's got his little empire that he's built with Rumbles. I love Dave Rubin. He's a gay man, and he's got 2 children, with his husband, David, and 2 toddlers. And I will tell you, if I ever have the honor or opportunity to meet Dave Rubin face to face, and if he ever asked me, which he never would, what do you think about? I'd be like, I'm not comfortable with the fact that you and he went out and had a surrogate and have 2 kids as a gay couple. I'm not comfortable with that. That's not something that I think that's kind of egotistical if you choose that lifestyle, or narcissistic. I think if you choose that lifestyle, it's a lifestyle. There are better ways to do it. On the other hand, there's another side of me that goes, well, who better? I mean, what a nice guy, and what a, rich couple, and, who better to support a couple of kids. So I do have these issues that I'm torn with. But what I think my point is on this is that I think the traditional, and it's kind of funny to say traditional gay community, but it's become that now because everything's shifted so far to the left. Traditional gay people, I think, are probably the best allies against this trans movement and mutilating children and stuff like that. I really do. I hope more of them speak up like Dave Rubin does. And he's somebody I really admire, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, the traditional gay community should be allied with the traditional community on this, because if with the transgenderism thing, if sex has no meaning, if gender is fluid, then there's no meaning to being gay.
Yeah.
Sexuality in general does not exist if gender is fluid, because you can flow back and forth between the two. I love how a lot of the transgender community tries to say, well, if you don't, if you're, a gay man, you should be willing to date a trans man, which is a woman who thinks she's a man. No, it eliminates the entire point of sexual orientation. That's not the way it works. So I think it will be natural allies. I think it may take some time, onesies and twosies here and there, as they suddenly realize that, hey, these folks are going to destroy our own lifestyle by coming this way and demanding that they're part of us.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what you're saying. We could have a whole conversation about the Dave Rubin, children situation. I like Dave Rubin as a podcaster. I think he's a good dude. I have some of my own thoughts. I think children need both sets of parents from each sex. I think the children need a mother and a father. I don't think 2 fathers or 2 mothers, or even just, and that's not to say that those families don't exist, and some kids don't do well within them, or with like a single mother or a single dad.
You're talking ideal. You're talking ideal, of course.
Yeah, it's just, I think that ideally the best outcomes for a stable, productive society occur when you have children within the confines of marriage to a man and a woman. I
hear you.
I think our society has proven that. But at the same time, Dave Rubin, good guy. I'm sure he's raising his kids, best he can.
He's a spectacular father. I have no doubt. He's just a good human being.
Yeah, he seems like a good dude. I haven't never talked to him, obviously. But yeah, I don't have any issues with Rubin personally. I think that he understands that the infusion of transgenderism, especially as it relates to kids, will destroy the homosexual community.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, it's funny, and we'll get off this topic because we got a little serious, and we'll end with a couple of more lighter notes before we get off. But um, what just occurred to me is that if you put Matt Walsh and Dave Rubin, you cannot have two more opposite people as far as lifestyles, right? I mean,
Oh yeah,
Matt Walsh being the very, very conservative, he calls
Catholic.
himself Catholic, has like what, 7 kids, I think? 5
6, I think.
6, something like that. Woman that stays home and cooks, wears his fake little logger, flannel and stuff like that. tries to act like a manly man. Never went to college. And I admire Matt Walsh too. There's a lot I disagree with Matt Walsh on, but I admire the shit out of him, and I admire the shit out of Dave Rubin. But if you put him in the same room together, Dave Rubin, who's he's nice looking gay man who grew up on the Upper East Side in New York and the whole 9 yards, wealthy family, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, if I didn't know metrosexual.
But here's the thing: if they have this conversation about this, and I'm sure they know each other, I'm sure they do because they all run the same circles. They would not disagree at all on this subject.
Yep.
They wouldn't disagree even slightly on this subject. And and I know Matt Walsh he wouldn't sit there and be pissed off that Dave Rubin was in the room with him. He's not that guy. He just has a very certain point of view about how he thinks things should look. He's much further to the right than I am. Not a problem. But it's interesting that you can have two people that are so polar opposite in how they live their lives agree completely 100% on this issue.
Yep.
Conservative, Christian, all of those check marks. Used to be a liberal gay guy growing up in wealthy New York, all that kind of thing, and they completely agree on this subject, which means we're right, and everybody else fuck off and shut up. All right, let's do a couple of quick more before we sign off, Russ. I know it's we're getting kind of long in the tooth here. I'm gonna have to edit the shit out of this podcast.
You need to leave some of this stuff in though, so that people can get a good feel for how we are.
For how hard it is for me to deal with you. Yeah.
Well, everyone would love to deal with me. I'm a delight.
All right. I'm putting this up here for just sheer comedic relief because this was also the year of major.
The gentlelady from Georgia, Miss Green.
That was quite entertaining from someone that had a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, and everyone knows it. But
I moved to take her words down.
I love me some Marjorie Taylor Greene. I do. She's whacked. She's nuts, but I love me some of her. I just do.
Yeah, she's kind of crazy. Now I will say this: having
like every single one of my ex-girlfriends ever, like rolled.
Having looked beyond the headlines on the Jewish space leader thing, it's a little bit more nuanced than it was played up in the press.
Of course, it was
crazy, but it's not quite what she said. Same time, that was a great remark. Eric Swalwell.
Yep.
He just, he's out there banging a Chinese spy and then has the audacity to act all, butthurt by stuff. Of course, I call him the farter because he was farting on national television.
He did fart on national television. I should have grabbed that video. That would have been funny, but that's all right.
Yeah, it's humorous. It's amazing that that we're such a diverse country. We have a Congress with an Ilhan Omar and a Congress with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Those, if you did a standard deviation,
they'd be on the ends.
They'd be on the ends. They would be on the ends. If you did the old bell curve, they'd be on the fucking ends. Wow. Yeah. I gotta love me some of her though. She just is always endlessly entertaining. And here's the thing: she's not wrong about a lot of stuff. I'm just gonna say.
I mean, it gets a lot of it gets obscured because of how she got introduced to the nation.
Right. She's not wrong about a lot of stuff. And I love that she put Swalwell in his place like that. It's yeah. I wish we had more fucking bones, out there that were willing to do that in Congress.
I'm sure Fang wished that she had more bones than Eric Swalwell.
Oh my God. You went there. It's all good. Well, I got one more video. One more before we sign off. And this is going to, don't worry, it's not about you. Actually, I was thinking about
I appreciate that.
I was thinking about playing that again. I really was, but I decided it would kind of lose its I gotta
flavor.
I gotta find it here. Where is it on my list? Okay, here we go. That's what sucks when I'm working off of 2 different screens. But this just to me, I've played this video before. This is not going to be a surprise to you, but this sums up how I feel about 2023 as good as anything that I could possibly say.
This ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening. Look, let's just bug out and call it even, okay? What are we talking about this for?
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Fucking A.
Well, I believe Corporal Hicks has authority here.
Corporal Hicks's.
This operation is under military jurisdiction, and Hicks is next in chain of command. Am I right, Corporal?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Pharaoh, do you copy?
Standing by.
Prep for dust off. We're gonna need immediate evac.
Roger. On our way.
Say we take off, nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
That's how I feel about 2023. And by the way, he always kind of reminded me, or I should say, a young Christopher Harrington, one of our listeners and friends, always kind of reminded me of him when he was in his younger days.
Yeah, I just it's interesting if you go back and look at Michael Baine's movies. It's hard to find a movie. I can only think of one that I've ever seen that he doesn't have shared the screen with Bill Paxton. The only one I can think of is K2, which is kind of an obscure mountain climbing movie.
How are you not remembering this? The Rock, dude.
I never saw The Rock.
I'll give you.
I never saw The Rock.
I'll give you a week, and then we're not friends anymore.
Well, you got to remember, I don't know if you remember me telling you this from 2015, 2016. You know, I never saw Blade Runner either. Folks, I need
a moment here. All right. The best scene in The Rock I'm going to do for you. You have to listen. Are you ready? It's Nick Cage. It's Nick Cage talking to Sean Connery. Oh, I'm trying my best. Your best? Only losers whine about trying their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. That is amazing. That is amazing. You got to watch that. It's Sean Connery and Nick Cage, and then it's like Ed Harris, who's fucking amazing, and then you got Michael Biehn, who plays the Navy SEAL commander, and the immortal scene where they're all like, "Stand down, stand down, stand down, stand down." I mean, they say "stand down" like 20 times. I can't fucking believe you haven't watched The Rock.
No, I mean, look, you got Michael Biehn in Aliens with Bill Paxton. You got Michael Biehn in Terminator. Bill Paxton is in that. You got, when Arnold first is on the scene and he goes to the punk kids that are at the telescope, that's where Bill Paxton is.
That's right. I did know that. I did know that. I'm embarrassed. I didn't remember that. Right. Okay.
The movie Navy SEALs, where Bill Paxton is in it, plays the sniper god. I mean, every time I turn around and I see Michael Biehn, there's Bill Paxton.
Right. Bill Paxton wasn't in not Deadwood.
Tombstone? Yeah, he was.
Who the fuck did he play?
Morgan. He was Morgan.
Fuck! Fuck yes, he was. Of course he was. Of course he was. Okay.
So there's another Michael Biehn, Bill Paxton connection. I mean, he's every fucking where.
No, and they were besties too. I actually, Michael Biehn was just recently on a podcast that I listened to. Michael Rosen.
I've seen a few of those clips.
Have you? Yeah, it was a really neat interview, and he was talking about Bill Paxton.
I haven't seen those clips. I've seen Michael Rosenbaum's interviews with a few other folks, like
Inside
Jensen
of You.
Ackles and the guy who plays Will Riker. For some reason, I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah. It's the worst podcast name ever, Inside of You, which is crazy. But he just had on. Are you a Reacher fan? Have you been watching the Reacher mini series on Prime?
I've seen a few scenes on YouTube, but I haven't watched it.
Oh, dude, you got to watch it. It's probably the best TV out there, next to.
I'm trying to finish catching up on this latest season of For All Mankind.
Yeah, and then the new one dropped today, right? So after I get off, actually,
I still got to go back and watch episode either 7 or 8. The one right after the commander, whoever. Why can't I never remember Joel Kinnaman's character's name?
Right, Admiral, whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah. Right after he was in there talking to a bunch of folks about they need to go on strike.
Yeah, I watched that one too. Joel Kinnaman's a good actor. I didn't think so when he first got out there, but I like him. I got to watch that one tonight because the last one was pretty good. You'll like it.
I'll see it now.
I cannot stand that. I cannot stand that woman who's the NASA commander. There's something about her that grates on my nerves.
Which one? The
African American
Mars?
female. Yeah, the African American female. I can't remember.
I don't like her either. But in fairness, almost none of the folks up on Mars are any good.
Right.
They're all kind of shitty.
They kind of let you know that. I thought it was interesting. Here we are completely getting off topic, but people love this part of our podcast. I thought it was really interesting that they took Margaret and made her a traitor. That whole story where she's working for the Russians. That I think it's kind of fascinating how they did that, actually.
It was. I don't think it's believable that they would have let her come out and openly work with the I don't remember her name, but the other girl from NASA.
Yeah, the one that she mentored and stuff.
I don't think that. I
like her character. I like her character a lot, actually.
And when the coup was happening, I was half expecting they made up a Russian name. Was it President Korshenko or something like that?
Right.
I expected that to be Vladimir Putin.
Right. That would have been kind of neat if they'd done that, but they didn't. I guess they didn't want the peace of Vladimir.
They should have done. That would have been more realistic. For those who don't know what we're talking about, For All Mankind, great series. We're just kind of riffing on it right now, but I need to go back. I need to see that.
Ask Yevgeny Prigozhin how he feels about Putin. Oh wait, you can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the last thing that went through his mind was his asshole.
That's poor guy. No, actually, he was a bad human being anyway. So I just
there's no good human beings over in that area of the world.
No, they're really.
They've all been killed.
And part of when I found out about my lineage a few years ago, 5 years ago or so, it didn't surprise you at all to find out that I got Russian blood bursting through these veins.
No, Russian blood, German blood,
Scottish
blood,
Scottish and Viking. Yeah.
Yeah, none of that surprises me at all.
There is no whiter person on planet Earth than me, though, if you think about it.
Well, there's a distinction between white and descended from every despotic, tyrannical regime we've ever had on the planet.
The Scots weren't tyrannical. Fuck's sake.
Robert the Bruce did betray William Wallace.
He did betray William Wallace. That is true. But they should have made that movie about Robert the Bruce because he was by far the most life-changing, history-changing character in that whole theater.
I just saw that I guess the guy who plays Robert the Bruce was in a Robert the Bruce movie from a few years ago. I haven't seen it yet, but I was flipping around and saw that movie about Robert the Bruce exists. I just haven't seen it.
Oh, well, Christopher Pine, who plays Captain Kirk in the new Star Trek movies, he's in a movie about Robert the Bruce. He plays Robert the Bruce. It's actually really good. It's actually very, very good. I watched it.
I don't remember the actor who played Robert the Bruce in Braveheart, but he's actually in a Robert the Bruce movie from 2017.
His name is Angus something. I can't remember, but he's a good actor. He's actually.
I want to call him Angus McLeod, but something tells me that that's a bit too stereotyped.
That's white simile right there. That's just like insert white guy anyway, but yeah, no, I got a lot of Scottish. Which I didn't know. Mostly
Scottish.
Mostly
a lot of Scottish.
Yeah, and then the Russian and then the Viking, the Northern European, the Norwegian, Swede, actually mostly Sweden,
Well,
which doesn't surprise anybody.
For my European mutt heritage is probably the Vikings that are in that line went and raped and pillaged their way across the continent, and that's how I got all that blood in me. And then some of those ancestors came over to America, and that's how I have the Cherokee in me. Which, when I talk about that, folks,
more pillaging.
Yeah, look, folks, I may play that up somewhat, but it's 7 generations back. I'm like 1024th Cherokee. It's kind of a joke, so I don't want anybody taking that seriously when I talk about my Cherokee brothers, because I'm not exact. I'm about as I'm slightly more Native American than Elizabeth Warren.
Well, you're more Native American. Well, I'm Native American. I was born in Puyallup, Washington. So
yeah.
But I hate that.
Come across the Bering Strait.
I hate that. I hate that term. Hate that term. Anyway, I don't want to end on a bad note for 2023. This is the last podcast. We're going to go into season 4 next year. And Russ, I don't know if you know, but this is number 70 for us. This is episode 70. Yeah. So here's the funny thing. If you listen to the podcast from 69, there's a 4-second little interlude in there from Bill and Ted. 69, dude. If you're us, what number are you thinking about right now? Remember that scene from Bill and Ted?
I do. I'm gonna have to ask one of our podcast listeners about this, because he was. I ran into him today, and he was listening to the pod, and he's excited that he's got like 2 or 3 backed up, so while he's working, he can listen to a few of our episodes.
Yeah, well, the funny thing about that 69 dude, it didn't make it through the filters on YouTube. They had to trim that out for copyright.
Really?
Which doesn't make any sense.
I can go watch part of that movie on YouTube.
I know, and this aliens video that I've played like 10 times now on our podcast, because I love it, because it's perfect, always makes it through. Maybe it's because I put the graphics on there that it's like 20th Century Fox Aliens 1986 or whatever. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure all this out. I'm a fucking analog man in a digital world. That's all I know, bitch.
Yeah, well, for anybody who hasn't seen my shirt, gotta show this off now. Never forget the way the world was.
It
was when technology was at its height for me.
You probably saw the meme that I put out every Christmas. It's like, never forget Nakatomi Plaza, 1980. I think that deserves a T-shirt, actually.
Hey, and I'm gonna piss off a good portion of our podcast audience by saying this. It's nothing new, but Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
Is a Christmas movie. Is a Christmas movie. Is a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie. On YouTube, Bruce Willis said it's not a Christmas movie.
He's fucking senile.
He said it a few years ago.
He's
John
senile.
McClane does not approve
He's
of
senile. He's senile.
He's senile now. When he said it, he was perfectly coherent.
I'm because I don't look back on some of the shit I've done and I deny it. Yeah, fuck you, Bruce Willis. I'm glad you're senile now, Bruce Willis, for saying that. Here's your senility. Go for it. Oh, hey, drool into the Jello for the rest of your life for saying that. Here you go. Here's your kitten puzzle and your fucking Jello, Bruce Willis. Shut up.
I get that you're mad because y'all are all wrong on this and you want to believe it, but it's
a Christmas movie. Of course, it's a Christmas movie.
It's a movie that takes place at Christmas, but it's an action movie. Are you gonna claim that Die Hard with a Vengeance is? Well, here's one. Why didn't anybody claim Die Hard 2 as a Christmas movie? It took place at Christmas.
It probably is. It's just not very good.
Die Hard 2 is awesome, dude. William Sadler is it's a
shitty movie. It's
awesome. When you got the guy who played what's his name? John Amos playing the Marine. I'm playing the Major there.
No, it's a shit movie. Every movie after the first Die Hard was shit.
No, Die Hards 2 and 3 are pretty good.
Oh my God. And this is from a guy, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you something here. This is from a guy who's never watched The Rock. Are you fucking kidding?
Because I have taste, okay?
Russ.
Coop,
I know your ego.
Coop.
Your ego gets in the way sometimes. I know that about you, brother. I love you, so watch The Rock. It's really good.
I have this thing called taste and limited time, so I have to actually, merit it out to things that might be worth my time.
I've seen what you eat. I've seen what you eat, and you have no taste, my friend.
I had great taste today. We had my dinner of salami and cheese and Ritz crackers.
Well, that's not bad. I can't downplay that. That's a little. So it's like a white trash charcuterie right there.
Like a few days ago, my dinner consisted of Fritos topped with hot sauce and shredded cheese.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Is your lovely wife working nights now or something, or what's going on?
She wasn't feeling well, so she was like, "You're on your own." And then I just went out and said, "You know what? Something nice and greasy," and I added some Yucateca green hot sauce and some shredded Mexican cheese to Fritos, and gave me some energy.
I can't
and
say.
Just so y'all know, I think I've mentioned before that from the beginning of June to the middle of November, I had lost 21 pounds, and I've put about 8.5 to 9 of that back on in the last 5 weeks, thanks to Thanksgiving. And I've got some logic to it. I got given a bunch of candy for Christmas, and I need to get rid of it all in like 1 week to make sure that I don't have it anymore, so I can then lose weight again.
You know, there's a guru that I listen to, and you know, I mean, I know this stuff too. I used to be a trainer and all that stuff. I know my diet, but his whole thing is like, eat whatever the hell you want between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day.
Yeah,
And
I'm doing that.
And then be disciplined for the rest of the year, but throw it out the window for the holidays because it's healthy. It's mentally healthy to do that, and it gives you
gives you something to look forward to. I'll be honest. The end of May, when I go on my Caribbean cruise, I will probably fall off the wagon then too. But between the beginning of January and the end of May, I'm going to go back to my intermittent fasting and some of my apples for breakfast and my portion control. Like I said, I was up to 197. I'm back. I'm at 185 now, but I was down to about 176.
190. Wow, 200 pounds. That's a lot, man.
197, not 200.
No, that's 200 pounds. We're rounding up. That's a lot, dude.
It was.
No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm the heaviest I've ever been in my life. When it wasn't like on purpose. When I wasn't like lifting weights and roiding out and shit like that. And it's gross, but I know how to lose.
When I stepped on the scale and it read 196.8. That's when I said, all right, I need to come down some. And that's when I went on my regime, and I got all the way down to like 176.1. And now I'm back up to 184.9. So it's there, but I mean, I've got my Jeremy's chocolate from Daily Wire. I've got my dark chocolate M&Ms. I've got my caramel dark chocolate squares. And I'm just trying to get rid of it all before the new year, so that I can then start fresh.
So the thing that I think that did you freeze up again? You froze up again.
Nope, I got you.
The one thing that I think that you froze up.
Nope, I'm here. I'm
right.
here.
The one thing I think you could do for both me and our boy Ryan Anselmi, who's been on the podcast in years past, we should probably get him on again. He's kind of entertaining. In 2024, I think we should get more guests on. I think that's one of the things we should look at doing.
We should bring on some folks that have known me for a long time.
Ryan Anselmi, I think if you take a photo on your cruise in a Speedo for both he and I think you would make our lives.
I don't ever see that happening.
Please?
No.
I'll send you a Two Grumpy Bastards t-shirt. Oh wait, you haven't bought anything from our merchandise store because I keep track of it.
I need to do that, but I'm also a cheap grumpy bastard, so
that's what we should like. That's the delineation: cheap grumpy bastard, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, grumpy bastard, over here.
Pasty bastard.
Yeah, we got some nice. I did buy some gifts for people this year from our store, and the merchandise is nice, dude. It's actually really, and I'm not kidding. It's actually really nice.
Just real quick for all the folks out there in podcast land, you can tell we've really devolved, but this is fun. Anyway, next week at the gym is going to be annoying because about 5 weeks after the first of January, people are on their New Year's kicks and they're all clogging the equipment, and it's, as you saw my Facebook status, equipment is for working out, not for having your conversation. And hey, if you fatties want to get in there and you can actually work stuff off, that's great. But after 3 or 4 weeks, when you're tired of it and you're back to eating your Malamars and your fried apple pies and you're not coming to the gym anymore, that's when I'll enjoy the gym again. I'm still going to go, but it's going to be a lot more of a pain in the ass with all the extra people in there trying to huff and puff their way to get in shape, and it's not a lifestyle yet. So they're going to be there. They're not going to know what they're doing, and they're going to leave after about 5 weeks.
I hear you. I just real quick that I posted that on your Facebook about that story about Mike Bibby.
Yep.
Just to give you a few details about that. I remember telling you about that back in the day, but I'm sure you don't remember. It was kind of funny because I'm working out, and back, that was when I was doing the Bataan Memorial Death March team and doing all that stuff. And I got down to like 219 at one point because I was just shredding. And so I go in there, and I'd run into Mike Bibby a few times because, you were over at my house a couple times watching UFC fights. You remember where I lived in North Sacramento. I lived right by Arco Arena.
Yeah.
And they would work out at that Gold's Gym, the Sacramento Kings and the cheerleaders and stuff like that. And he was in there, and there was literally like 15 boys in his posse, all sitting around, flirting with girls, sitting on machines and stuff like that. And I walked up to him, and I go, this is actually really funny. And I actually ran into him a couple times, so he kind of knew who I was. And I had a playful kind of relationship with Mike Bibby. He was a really nice guy, by the way. To give him full credit, real nice guy. But his boys were taking up all the machines, and I walk up to him and I go, hey, Mr. Bibby. I go, I'd really love to use these machines for something other than a dating couch. Would that be cool with you? And he kind of looks at me, and I go, I guarantee you that the Rain Man up in Seattle is working out right now. That was my guy, and he looks at me and he smiles and he shakes his head and he gets up and he just kind of looks back over his shoulder and he shakes his head at me again and all that. And next time I saw him in there, he comes up to me and he's laughing and he high fives me and stuff like that. He's a really cool guy. But that's actually what I said. I'd really, instead of dating couches, and because they were all, yeah, it was fun, and he was cool about it. But that was my experience.
Never understood the need to get a posse when you're a professional athlete. I mean, I want people to leave me alone as it is.
Right.
Course,
yeah,
it
was weird.
But
nice guy. I remember there was that Safeway that was right by my house there where I lived in North Sacramento. And apparently he was down one of the aisles, and everybody was like standing back, and there was this crowd, and he was like in the cheese and dairy aisle in Safeway right there. And I'd stop there on my way home from work pretty much every other day and stuff. And being a bachelor, I didn't really shop. I just, shop for what I wanted to eat that day. That's kind of what you do.
Salisbury steak.
Yeah. and I look, and everybody's like, I was like, fuck it, I need some cheese. So I walk down there and I go, oh, hey, with all the crowd hanging around here, I thought the Rain Man was here, referring to my guy from the Sonics. And he just started laughing and shook his head again, because I did that joke to him every time I ran into him in public. Trying to grind it in his face that the Sonics were, and the Sonics had a great run, by the way, there for a while. But anyway,
in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, don't even talk about that.
If I'd been him, I'd have turned to you and been like, if you keep making fun of me, I have to wipe my tears with these $100 bills.
Yeah, I know. And I would have laughed, and I would have acknowledged it, so it would have been fair. But he was a nice guy. Vladi Divac used to come into that Gold's Gym too, and that guy was intense, and he was really, really fucking cool. Total opposite. No posse, no nothing. Come in, get my workout in, and I leave.
He played for the Charlotte Hornets for a while, so I'm at least familiar with his body of work.
Yeah. No, he's a good dude. And we should wrap it up, man. We've been on for a while. It's been 2 hours. I know it's late back where you're at.
We've kind of devolved into other topics.
I know we're having a personal phone call here over our podcast.
And that's why we get paid. Actually, we don't get paid, but that's why people listen.
Well, if motherfuckers would, everybody's
buy more shit.
Yeah, buy more shit or follow us on Patreon or any of that kind of thing. We'd actually be able to, Coop's poor and Russ has a family to feed. I'm just saying we're in really bad shape. Okay, we're not in bad shape.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in here doing the podcast, and my kids have come in with a bowl and saying, "Dad, please, may I have some more?"
And you just sprinkle dry oatmeal in their bowl, and you take the water from the cat's bowl and you fucking pour it over it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you have to share with the cat, you fuckers. Get out. My dog, I got to tell you, after that story I told you at the beginning about the hound, he got up. It took him, I was watching, I don't know if you noticed, but my attention was diverted. It took him about 4 minutes to get up off the floor. And he's in his nest. I call it his nest. He's got a bed over there in the corner. And he hasn't moved. I'm probably going to have to go check to see if he's still breathing here.
Let's hope so.
He hasn't been out once to pee today after his adventure yesterday. So there is a little Schadenfreude here that I'm okay with. I'm okay with it. I'll get over it tomorrow. I'll baby him tomorrow, but tonight, fuck you. All right. So anyway, with that note.
On that note, we all have a wonderful 2024.
Yeah. Hey, wishing all of you a better 2024. It's going to be interesting, Russ. I am glad to flush 2023 down the fucking toilet.
It was still better than 2020.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. That was the worst year of my life, quite frankly.
Did you ever hear the joke about God and Gabriel in 2020?
Go ahead.
Where Gabriel goes up to God and says, "Lord, I'm finished." He says, God says, "Oh, all that history that I wanted you to create, you put that in the 2020s? And Gabriel's like, yeah, wait a minute. You said 2020s as in plural? And God says, you didn't put a whole decade's worth of history into 1 year, did you? Gabriel's like, yeah. God's just like, shit.
That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. It's been a different universe since 2020. That's for sure. That was the year everything kind of hinged and changed. Hopefully we'll have better things to come. Hopefully we'll have our outcome in the election. I know hopefully it's not
Hopefully
a method.
we're not going to war with each other.
Hopefully it's not a method, as our beloved mentor Dan Goldthorpe used to say to me all the time when I accidentally said that around him.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not a method. So it's I think this is the year to take action. It's the year to take action and do what's right. Pray that we're not burning at the end of the year.
I think we're going to be, but let's hope not.
Well, we got the guns, we got the food, and we got the know-how. So, I mean,
won't make it any easier when we're killing each other.
well, I know, and it's gross. And, God bless the United States of America. I pray for her every single day, and I mean that sincerely. That's not just me bullshitting. I do. I pray for her every single day. So anyway, my friend, it was a pleasure to serve with you in 2023. We got some good podcasts out there. We might have lost a few listeners a few, months ago, but that's okay.
I might be responsible for that.
Now we'll build that back up. I get a lot of good feedback. I haven't gotten any negative emails in months, to be quite honest with you. So unless
you guys need to pump up your game.
Unless they're been playfully, I did get death threats on my own. I sent you the password for our Twitter account, so
yeah, I need to get on there.
Yeah, go have fun. Lord knows I do. So anyway, we love you guys. Happy New Year, happy 2024, and all I want for the new year is for the Huskies to be the national champions.
That would be a dream for you, I'm sure.
And I'm thinking you might not hate that. It'd be kind of cool.
I wouldn't hate that. But my only wish is that Alabama gets curb stomped by Michigan.
Yeah, well, and I hate Michigan, so I would love to match up with Michigan for the national championship. I fucking hate Michigan. I've stated it a million times. I hate Harbaugh. I think he's one of the worst human beings that's ever lived. I literally think he might be the Antichrist.
Okay.
All right. Maybe that's
on that
pushing.
note.
Maybe that's pushing that a little bit. All right. Happy 2024, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the roll up and all that. And we will see you in the new year, bright and shiny. For those of you who've never heard it before, which is nobody that's listening to this podcast, remember to keep your focus and
stay wokeless. I didn't notice how bad the gap between my teeth was. That's why I look so psychotic in pictures when I try to smile. That was my entire premarital sex life is called begging. See my various twitches and golden shower, but better. So I believe that I was where the term pity fuck came from. I didn't notice how bad the gap between my teeth was. That's why I look so psychotic in pictures when I try to smile. That was my entire premarital sex life is called begging. See my various twitches and golden shower, but better. So I believe that I was where the term pity fuck came from. I didn't notice how bad the gap between my teeth was. That's why I look so psychotic in pictures when I try to smile. That was my entire premarital sex life is called begging. See my various twitches and golden shower, but better. So I believe that I was where the term pity fuck came from. I didn't notice how bad the gap between my teeth was. That's why I look so psychotic in pictures when I try to smile. That was my entire premarital sex life is called begging. See my various twitches and golden shower, but better. So I believe that I was where the term pity fuck came from. Jewish space lasers. Yes. Jewish space lasers. Yes. Jewish space lasers. Yes. Jewish.